Okay.
I'm ready to spread some positivity.
Unbear your burdens. All right, my friends, welcome to the next episode of the Formerly Intoxicated podcast. My name is Blake Mathews. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with co-host Erik Miller and our guest today, Remopolis Pleasant. Hello, Remopolis.
Hello, guys. Nice to be here. Thank you.
Welcome.
So before we get started, I want to set the intention. The Formerly Intoxicated podcast and the overall mission of Sober House Records, right, is to create recovery-centric multimedia content, including songs, music videos, short films, right? And the mission is to authentically portray the journey of individuals who have faced mental illness, addiction, incarceration, and to inspire hope for redemption for the individuals who maybe are still facing some of those battles. And not only do our artists and individuals who are involved in the label and the podcast travel to venues, not only are we touring clubs, but we're also traveling to residential treatment facilities, prisons, right? We'll talk a little bit more about MRC today and what else is to come. We are super, super blessed and honored to be on this journey together, just a journey of service. And as Remopolis says, the ultimate goal is to save lives, right? To inspire change and to save lives. So without further ado, here is the Formerly Intoxicated podcast. The crowd goes wild.
Yeah, nailed it. Nice work.
So yeah, it's good to be here with you guys. How are you doing today, Erik?
And I'm still, I was just texting this out. I'm still like vibrating from yesterday. Just being in MRC yesterday. The energy that kind of like I felt entering that space and then leaving that space was amazing. It was like a time travel a little bit for me. I got out of prison in 2007. And walking through kind of like the back corridors of MRC, I saw like the mats that I used to sleep on. Only they have the good ones there. They have the Cadillacs there, like the double thick, the gray
ones.
Yeah,
They got still have covers, no holes in them.
No holes in them. They're the dark gray. They got the nice ones there.
Right.
And just walking past a room full of those, just reminded me of some of my time that I was in Department of Corrections. And just the feeling of like coming full circle, driving a U-Haul box truck through the gate. They didn't even look in the back of the box truck. They just let me come up. I had the barbell save shirt on, and they just let me pull right in through the razor wire fence with the box truck. And they're like, "Yeah, go do your thing." But yeah, it was an emotional day. It was an exciting day. Like all good things happened. But yeah, I'm still kind of feeling that energy, the residual left over from yesterday.
Well, you earned it, right? You put the time into serving, transforming lives in the community. First and foremost, your own, right? You got out when, was it?
2007.
And you have how much clean time?
Like I used when I was in prison one time while I was in there, so I'm not like one of the people that keeps track. I don't keep count of my days. Like that was a chapter that closed. But I know that I've been off paper for 16 years. So I really look at it as like when my paper trail ended is like my sobriety date almost.
Beautiful. And what was that date again?
It was a week ago. It was 16 years.
What a trip going back into Maricopa Reentry Center.
Yeah. And part of the process of going in there, you have to do the Department of Corrections background check. Mm. And the very first question they ask you is like, are you currently on probation or have you ever been probation or parole? And what was that date? And I couldn't think off the top of my head. I had to go back and look it up. That's how I know it was a week ago. But yeah, it was like almost 16 years to the day of like getting off paper to like going back in to a Department of Corrections facility. And I've got approval on my background check to get my badge. That's going to allow me to go into other Department of Corrections facilities too, so that we can expand the project. But just going into one was a big deal. I imagine picking up the badge will be a big deal too. Going down to the 801 building and getting badged up will be cool. It's exciting.
Well, congrats, man. That's a testament to redemption, and that's what we're all about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it was just super emotional. It brought back a lot of stuff. Seeing seeing the yard, brought back a lot of stuff. And like walking through the corridors and stuff. They actually I was thinking about like the workouts I used to do on the yard because we had nothing. We had like a pull-up bar, some dip bars, and like a track. And we had to kind of like make do with that. They at least have like, there's a bench in there. There's a couple little pieces of equipment in there. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They got some weights here, that they can use, but it's all pretty outdated. So we're happy to be able to bring in new equipment, barbells, dumbbells. So we brought in bikes too. So that was super cool.
Yeah. So to provide some context, Erik and the Barbell Saves Project, they literally loaded up a U-Haul with, I think, 10 or 12 in place. What do they call them? What kind of bikes are they? Stationary.
They're like assault bikes or air bikes.
Yeah, air bikes.
Where you pedal and push pull with your hands at the same time.
A ton of boxes for what's that exercise when you're jumping up?
A plyo box. So they're for box step ups or jumps.
Okay, cool. Plyo box for step ups and jumps. They had a whole row of those, a bunch of dumbbells, and then about 50 yoga mats. It must have been 40 or 50 yoga mats. Facilitated a yoga class at the prison, and a whole exercise. And then amidst all of the amazing energetic output, Hannah and I were behind the turntables, just getting that place jumping. So we did all of that on the basketball court inside the gates. It was pretty cool.
And the cool thing about that too was like, not only were you guys just there DJing it, we had like several of the guys that are patients there and receiving services there that came over and were wanting to learn about your equipment, and you gave them a rundown, right? You gave them a whole like little, this is the laptop, these are the tables, like all the stuff, right?
Yeah, I had a couple of the guys behind the tables throw the headphones on, just teaching them about beats per minute, how to beat match, how to transition and crossfade between tracks. It was super cool.
That's right.
Yeah. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. I was doing better. When y'all were telling this story, I'm thinking, how was I not invited to this event? How is it that Remopolis did not go? But I can see all of those things. I can see the yard. I can see those mats. My release from DOC was only 2 years ago last week. I say only 2 years ago, but 2 years has been the longest I've ever been out of incarceration.
Are you off paper right now? Or?
No, but my PO just told me the other day that I'm being released from it early.
Nice, congratulations.
A testament to my character and good works, she says. So,
sounds right.
Hadn't heard words such from a PO before. And that was pretty exhilarating. Couldn't wait to call mom and dad, let them know. But I can see that event, and I can see the hunger for the individuals rushing toward that equipment and wanting to engage in things that they're not allowed to engage with because they're ostracized from that. And y'all were at MRC, right?
Yeah, do you know about the program at MRC?
Well, what I know is that it's really minimum custody, and they wear their own clothes, but it's like they're parole or probation violators that are it's next to Dobie Mountain, where it used to be Dobie Mountain.
Yeah, correct.
And that is kind of the POs that send them back there and say, okay, you're on your way back to prison. What do you want to do? And mostly people that have been violated because of missing UAs because they were dirty, or dirty UAs, or not going to see the PO because they were dirty. So yeah, our message, it's great that the Barrio Sage Project and Sober House Records went in there to push our message of sobriety, because there's no way, especially for the drug addict, to be successful out here without the sober mind. That's it. They just don't.
Yep. Yeah, if you want to get off paper, you have to at least do that time on parole or probation sober. I think that's, and it's times are changing. Like they're a lot more lenient now. They do have programs like MRC where they'll give you that little 21-day inpatient treatment to go through some programs and kind of like reboot and try again. Um, because when I was on parole, it was nothing. Like any kind of violation, and you were going right back.
Mm-hmm.
And they pretty much told you that, like, we're expecting you to go back. Now the push is to try and keep these guys with their families. We know that that's the solution. That's the bigger solution to society as a whole, is like keep the family together. We want to keep the kids with their parents and the dads with their sons and daughters, because they need that. The family unit is the best thing that we can do for society. But they also have to protect society. So these guys that are a danger to them, I understand that side of it too. But yeah, it has come a long way. I'm not saying it's perfect. They still have some work to do in the judicial system and in the Department of Corrections, but they're working on it. They see that change is necessary, and it is happening. Us going in there is part of that change. Before, it used to be you had 15 minutes with a therapist or a counselor, and that was kind of like the extent that you would get. Or you could go to programs, but nothing like this. There was nothing like this when I got out. There was no free yoga or free CrossFit or free music, or like, there was none of that stuff. And that's just a testament of how times are changing.
Yeah, I mean, the studies, the numbers are what the numbers are. Reconnection and being connected is a major factor in whether a person is going to succeed or continue to fail. The recidivism rate is way, way too high. And as whom have entered prison gates, I almost said 3 times because I have 3 prison numbers, but I've also violated parole 3 times. So I've entered prison gates 6 times and walked out of those gates 6 times, right? And as I was thinking about what were the things that caused me to fail, what were the things, because you're always gung-ho about this time, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to get to my music. I'm going to write these books. I'm going to publish. I'm going to promote. I'm going to do all these wonderful things. But then you step out the door. And the first trip is to the PO. You initial all of the boxes. I want to do this. I want to do that. I won't associate with these guys anymore. I won't use any substance. I won't drink any alcohol. All of that. And that be the push. On a couple of those occasions, I was greeted by a loved one who picked me up and took me to Walmart to buy drawers and socks after whatever meal that I had been fiending for that I couldn't get in prison. And if that was a lady friend, or turns out my ex-wife, great experience right off the top. Then came you have to take the substance abuse classes, so says my PO, which was a requirement. Had to go to Teros to do that twice a week. Also, I was on colors. So your colors were, if you call in, they give you a number. You have to call every morning. My last color was opal, right? And if they say opal, they're going to list a lot of colors. But if opal comes up, I got to take a UA that day, sometime before task close in the business, right? Okay, so then there's that, right? And then anger management, I had to take at another place. That was like on 32nd Street. All the time while living on 83rd Avenue, where the bus stops running, right? They give you a couple of those bus passes. And then there's my son, whom I've been away from all these years and have made all of these promises that I'll be here for that and that. And you're missing things, and you're trying to juggle it all. And I'm telling you, this job, it really ain't making. I remember when I was working at Sunland Beef. It was on 99th Avenue and whatever that was in Tollerson, right? Things were just overwhelming, right? It was a fit of wanting to do too much on an occasion. And then after a while, a beer. Uh, okay, a couple of beers. Um, alcohol don't stay in the system for 24 hours. If I drink this beer now, it's 9 a.m. Tomorrow, if they hit me with the colors, I'll just go at quarter to 9 p.m. I should be all right, especially if I'm flushing all day, flushing all day, flushing all day. You start to convince yourself, how the way to trick this and trick that. And, there's no proper way to do it. I used to have a motto, and it makes me cringe when I hear some of the little homies using it. Even wrong got to be done right, right. But the fact of the matter is, I found that there's no right way to do wrong. Either you got the right or the wrong. Then there was the times that you get it in your mind that you're going back. I even have a song, about, wait till I get out. But then one verse, how's it go? I can't wait until I get out. My first move to put a hit out on that fool that snitched me out to the cop. Yeah, Mop's coming back to the slammer, but not before I win a motherfucking Grammy. Underground or commercial, I don't care. I could do without the cursing. F what you say about a sellout. I know better than that. I just want the radio to play my wax. They won't play most, but they'll play some. Let me stop lying. They'll play one. We need a little magic. And that one will grab you by the heart and raise the mop to the top of the rap chart. Wait until I get out. Get out. The things that we say to ourselves, words really matter. And when you start saying, hey, when I come back, and so when you get out, the promises that you make, and everybody make promises, not just to you people outside, you're making dual promises. Making promises to mama, I'm gonna be all right, mama. I ain't doing nothing, ain't involved with the promise to the girlfriend, promise to dad, promise to the kids, right? But you're also making promise to your cellmate, who you've been cellies with for 2 years, you're making promise to the guys you've been in rides with that's gonna save your life when the police tried to kill you. You're making right, and what they want, what they need, it's all about eating. It's all about eating. At the end of the day, it's all about what's for dinner, right? If stork coming, you got people in there that have no family. You got people in there nobody's gonna pick them up from the gate. You got people that's not getting positive support. What do they need? They need to make some money. How do they make some money? In an honorable hustle, prison, drug trade, right? So I'm going to send you this and I'm going to send that and I'll give it to your girl and I'll give you this and I'll do that and this is how we'll work that out, And there's nothing worse than making some convicts doing 25 to life in various sentences, promises that you don't keep, right? Because they always let you know, hey, you'll be back, right? So I knew in myself, hey, man, I may go bad really quickly. I always took care of my promises the first week. Who is it with this? I dropped this off to your kid. Here's this. I put money on your book. Here's this. But while I'm still fresh, while my skin is still good, I ain't sucked up, I'm still scared, I might go smoke something. I might go drink something. As the doors to get ready to open, I'm starting to have more and more dreams about getting high. Or with that, I hadn't been high in years. I don't get high in prison, as a rule, right? As a rule, I discipline those that are getting high and not paying their bills. I have to make the decisions on those guys. So it's up to us to be the example. However, when they come out and they see us out right where they at, man, this guy had me DP'd. That's the word for discipline. If you break the rules, I may send 3-4 guys in there to touch up a little bit. Nothing major, but you know, and it's a psychological thing too. As I think back on it, because everybody know that you've been whooped. Everybody know you done had the DP. Everybody know y'all the Mexicans and the white guys put you on blocks. They DP your ass and then you're on blocks. That means you can't do no business on the yard until your whatever period is over. You can't go get nothing from nobody, and everybody know it. So if he goes to your store, he ain't paying you. Don't come to us for the money because he's on blocks, right? It's a reputation ruiner, you know, to have someone administer that type of control over you, you know.
And that's really, at the end of the day, that's all you've got in there. You know, I mean, unless, like you said, you got some family that's sending you some money on your books or whatever, but or you got your little hustle or your job. Really, the only thing at the end of the day that you have is your reputation. So once you burn that, it's a long road to try and get that back. If you ever can get that back, yeah. Once it's gone, usually it's gone.
Right.
And it'll follow you. The prison system is a small system. It will follow you wherever, whatever yard you land on, wherever you go. That reputation's your name is everything.
And now with the internet, you know, and they used to, some guys that turn, you know, they would send them out of state, you know, or they would bring guys in from other states, you know, and you know, they pretty much just make up the tale. Hey, I was this guy, and I was, you know, I was doing so much down there, they had to get rid of me. But a lot of times, those guys have been turned. Their reputations had been stained, and they had to be sent away from those prisons because people may or may not kill them. Now with the internet, everybody knows wherever you're at. You know, you're in Arizona, they know, you know, what you did in Arizona if they send you to Alaska. Somebody just get on there and grab the information, you know. So one thing is very important to me as a Sober House Records artist and the CEO of Lockdown Society Media, when I actually get the work done to make that something that we're out here, is always just tell the truth.
Yeah.
One thing, when you're going into these prisons, just tell it straight. Individuals are used to bad news. They've seen the judge. You know, you're not going home for a while. You can't get much worse news than that. You know, they've heard no store coming this week. You know, no sense in lying to them and saying it's because you misbehaved. It's because we messed up the store order. The lady that was supposed to write the check, the key fee, went on vacation and didn't tell anybody to take so your store's not coming. But next week you get double, right? I mean, just keep it straight, whatever the thing is, and you know, and the respect that grow.
So let me ask you this, Mop. You said you violated a couple times parole or probation. Was it the same thing every single time that caused you to violate? Was it a something different?
Well, it was always something different pretty much every time. First time I got out, I was on house arrest. Now this was back in 1995. At that time, you had soft time, hard time, and flat time. I had 5 soft. So theoretically, I was supposed to be able to get out in 2.5 years with 6 months early click out and just do 2. However, my mindset of going into prison and what I was going to accept and not accept being in prison. You don't know what you see on TV. You don't know what people tell you. I made my mother a promise that I would come out alive. I made my father a promise that I would be a virgin when I got out, right? For to be nobody's wife, girlfriend. I ain't washing no drawers or socks for nobody. None of that. So anything that looked like a slight, I was on it. So my record started out with various assaults. I remember a guy, he and I were pretty close. And one day he asked me, he had long hair, he asked me, I know how to braid hair. Now, see, where I'm from down in Mississippi, the only people on their yards that were braiding hair and braiding people's hair were the homosexuals, right? If you were hair braided, they'd turn you out. And so it surprised me that my partner, my spade partner, my domino partner, we eat burritos together, asked me to braid his hair. And he asked me, did I braid hair? And I said, yeah, I can braid hair, which I can. Yeah, I can braid. He was about 6'3" and some change. I'm 5'9" and 100 and nothing. He said, would you braid my hair for me on the chair? I take right off. I shoot him about a 20. He was study saying while he was pulling me off. What you tripping on, bro? What you tripping on? Right. That's fair in Arizona. You see guys braiding hair all the time. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that's what they do. You know what I mean? I still stuck with that code. I didn't do it. But my record started off like that. And anybody could get it. Staff. I remember I went off about a pancake. We're supposed to have 4 pancakes. It was the weekend. There's 3 pancakes during the week. You know, you get, listen, I love pancakes. If Blake know I love pancakes, I can eat pancakes 3 times a day, 7 days a week. But this cap kept saying, "No, man, you got 4 pancakes." He was basically saying, "You lying. You have stolen a pancake, and I've stolen a pancake before. Uh, but now not before this, right? So my integrity, you know, I'm thinking, right, is you insulting me." And that was my first staff assault, and so it started out like that. But then, you know, in prison, right is wrong, wrong is right. You know, it's like
Hold on, I need to I need to back up one second. That might have slipped by real quick. Did you say you assaulted staff over a pancake?
I did. I damn sure did. Bastard. And so check this out. That's 92. So check this out. I run into him again.
Yeah, let's clarify that.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
That was 1991 or 92.
Okay.
And
Right.
if you don't know, assaulting staff is assaulting an officer.
Yes. Yeah, it's like you're talking to the police. Yeah, and if you draw blood, you know, you can get 25 years. You know what I
Right,
mean? They
right.
can, if you go to trial and lose, they'll offer you a plea of 10 to 15, which you would take. But see, in those days, you know, guards would actually fight you. You know, they take off their shirt. You take off that shirt, that badge. What? You ain't said nothing. You know, you had those. You know what I mean? And he was one of those. So he spoke basically like he was a convict. He was from the streets and all that. He just had a job. You hear him when they tell you, "Hey, man, I'm just like you. I just got lucky." Right? Oh, yeah, right. You just want to seem like you fit in. And so it didn't go there. I didn't go to the hole. I was in the hole for 3 days. But
Wow.
yeah, it
Got
was
off easy.
over pancake. Now,
Wow.
mind you, I run into him again in what was it? Summer run in 2017. He's a freaking captain. You know now. You know what I mean, right? So I'm working. I'm working on lockdown side of media. I'm trying to get guys to do their writings. You know, my book has been published for some years now.
I'm glad you weren't working in the kitchen.
No. I was banned from all kitchen duties activities. That's a whole different story.
They got to keep you away
And
from the
somebody
pancakes.
called my name and said, "Moppy Mop." He said, "Remopolis." I turned around. "Remopolis, you hit me in the face over a pancake." You know, but now his version of the story is a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, he talk about the part of the fight where I was actually subdued. You know, they always win in the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you assault staff. You might as well get yours in the beginning because the ending is coming.
Yeah.
You know, that's when 3, 4 other people show up. They may or may not use the mace. I like it when they use the mace because they're gonna spray them too, and everybody. We're all gonna be trying to get some relief here.
All doing it together. Yeah.
But then the cuffs go on extra hard. There's a knee in your neck. You know, they get theirs back in the end.
Yep.
But you know, for it to be known though that I wasn't gonna take no shit from nobody was very important to me, as is the case with a lot of people that go in, you know, fitting my description, as is the case with a lot of people that's on the street right now that want that credibility of not being a sucker. They're doing the dumbest shit, not understanding the full consequences of doing time in Arizona or facing an Arizona court. Arizona courts are different from every other court we got in the nation. They kind of make it up as they go. Ask the Ninth Circuit, who is suing Arizona, you know, for the way that they're doing things. You know, yeah, you might get your case overturned, but you're going to spend 15 years fighting that battle. And there's no law library right now. Georgetown Law Journal costs you over $100. Arizona Rules of Criminal Procedure. Arizona Revised Statutes. These books cost money, man. You can spend $100 on a book and not need but 2 pages, 2 paragraphs out of it, because you cannot get it in the library. You know.
Interesting.
So,
So how much time did you do?
total, I've done 29 years.
So you've done 29 years and you've been out 2.
Yes.
So what's different this time?
Oh, well, Crime Don't Pay. I stuck in my mind. I have 2 songs called Crime Don't Pay before I even did half this much time. And I wrote the Crime Don't Pay series, right? Now it makes sense to me, right? It just don't pay for me. It pay for somebody. God bless you. It don't work for me, you know. I get to a point out there where I'm dealing enough. I'm making enough money to get a few different cars and enough little jewelry, and people think that's really successful, you know. Even you get to feeling like that, you get to relax. It long enough for the task force and everybody to get pissed off at you. Then they come take it all back, you know. And none of those things you've purchased is good for bail.
Right.
You might have paid $80,000 for that car. Bail bonds are gonna offer you 15 for it, if that, right?
Right.
The jewelry is worthless, you know.
But what's different?
Well, my mind is different. My mind is different. I recognize that when I'm at my best is when I have access to the full capabilities of my brain, right? That being said, no Hennessy, you know, no weed, you know, definitely no uppers, no downers. Those things used to make me feel like I was in such creative mode. Hey, a blunt and a 40, I'm good. Oh, ecstasy pill, when that came out, oh man, I was the Mac. Not really. You just think you are. Well, they were feeling me. Yeah, but they hot too, right? So it's that. That's the first thing. Another thing is I realized that I move according to the uniform that I'm wearing, right? If I'm wearing prison orange, I'm Commander Moppy Mop. This is my block, or this is my yard, or a portion of it, right? Even religion, my religion had been, I'm usually the imam or the assistant imam. That's the Muslim leader, and all of the Muslims are going to follow the brother because, you know, I'm a righteous brother, right? I mean, you know, I really, according to our standards, I do good deeds. I make sure you got tennis shoes when you come through there with that bag from Alhambra and shower shoes. I put some shoes on your feet because you can't walk around in shower shoes. You got to be combat ready at all times, right? So I make sure you got some shoes. I make sure you got paper and envelopes to write your mom and let them know where you're at and, you know, how long it's going to take for it to approve the visitation process, which has to be done before it can make phone calls from the phone. I make sure you get the things you need at the same time that I'm giving you the rules. 10 to 10. From 10 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock in the morning, it is to be quiet in here. Some people work at 3 o'clock in the morning. Some people pray at 4 o'clock in the morning. Some people just want some peace and quiet, and all that BS ain't going, you know. That's a penitentiary law, 10 to 10. There was war over it. There was bloodshed. So we adhere to it, right? Don't get nothing from nobody you can't pay for. And right now, you can't pay for nothing, you know. Maybe if he bought a receipt from Alhambra that says he has $1,500 on his book, for the one time I tell him how to spend that money, you know. First thing you do is you get your appliances, get your television if you can afford it. You're going to need a fan. It gets hot in the desert. You may or may not need a lamp. That's up to you. But you need a bowl. You need a cup. You need what you need, right? Get your needs first. Get your wants after that, right? But then I give them the rules, man. If you can't pay for it, until you show that you got some money on your books, I don't want to see you at no poker table. I don't want to hear the word bet come out your mouth. Because the first time it'll be on me. LG, can I talk to you? They're going to come in the morning after you can't pay it. It's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. They'll find me. Head honcho, Mexican head honcho, white dude, head honcho, blood from the other side, right? LG. Little dude over there. He down $150, man, on the. How'd that happen? Well, he lost 100 on poker, and then he went to my store, and and the store is 2 for 1. You pay 50% tax on $1. So if you get $50 worth of store for a guy from a guy on store day, you earn $75 worth of store back. I mean, that's a righteous hustle, and it goes on in prison. However, it gets to add up, and if you don't have it that week, it's taxed another 50%, right? So that $100 that your mom and them was promising to send you, when you get there, you still ain't got enough to cover the bet. So now I got to be paid. So there's not an issue among the tribes. Somebody's got to, and now I got to come up with a payment plan. All right, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And give me to tomorrow, man, and we'll figure something out. All right, OG, right on. They don't want to talk to just anybody. They want to talk to somebody that's living up to the standard of what their reputation say and what that ink on them say and how they live. You feel me? But still, it's a problem for me. I ain't rich, Now I got to figure it out, And so I'm more apt to cause displeasure because you've brought displeasure into my world, And me not being able to take care of it on a respectable timetable, which really the timetable should be right away. I should be able to go and say, and there's been times go and get me $150 worth of store and take it to the white dude over there, the head over there, and give him and tell him that's that for that youngster, right?
So I have a question. So for someone who's, let's say, 3 months fresh out, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would the recommended course of action be to take steps towards success?
No drugs.
Okay, first step, no drugs.
Yeah, that's number one.
First thing.
What's next?
Well, certain things you're going to do right away. You're going to trade that prison ID in for a regular ID. If you can get a driver's license, get your driver's license right away, you're going to get your ID. If you don't have a social security card, you're going to go up there and you're going to get that. You're going to get the foundational things together. But the biggest thing is housing, right? If you don't have a family to go to and you don't want to go and catch the bed bugs at TLC, which, these days, bed bugs at TLC is the Ritz-Carlton, People are sleeping behind dumpsters.
And they got them closing down now, too. Like, they're catching them doing fraudulent stuff with their books, and they'll shut them down. Yeah. So even if you think you landed a bed somewhere, there's a chance that they're doing something wrong with it, and you could be having to refigure that out again right after you just got your spot, like
somewhere to go.
Yes, just having somewhere stable to be.
Somewhere to go. It is most important.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't have a place to go, where would you recommend searching?
I would recommend searching all of the resources. I would recommend calling Community Bridges and calling Teros and calling Community Medical Services.
I'll throw out there ION, Inside Out Network.
ION?
Yeah,
so we had Maddie out there from ION at the event yesterday,
okay.
And ION is amazing. It is an entire platform that has all the resources on there, and you can actually start tapping into it while you're incarcerated still now.
Right, I remember.
Yeah.
I filled out some stuff like that for
the CLA. And that's always there. Like for us that have been incarcerated, ION is always there. We can always access it.
Really?
And tap into that stuff. Yeah, it's forever. Once you've ever done any kind of time, it's for you.
So where did you go?
I got out, this time. What are we talking about this time?
Mm-hmm.
Let us stay focused on this time so we won't get confused about.
Yeah.
Because I went different places, different times with pretty much the same result. This time I went to Tucson. I got on absolute parole. I had an opportunity to go to classes at U of A in creative writing. That still stands for something I wrote and sent in to them that they liked. And they afforded that to me. So I went to Tucson to stay away from Phoenix, to stay away from the hood, to stay away from there, because
Yeah.
to stay away from there, because the people that love me are gonna want to welcome me home with gifts. Usually that's barely a few dollars, a couple hundred. But then there's 3 ounces of this and 3 ounces of that, and boats of this and boats of that, and I don't need none of that. I mean, another thing is I made no promises this time. I told individuals, hey, if I'm in a position to do something, it'd probably be through lockdown society me to give me 2 years to get that stuff established. We right about 2 years. And I wrote about 35 personal letters to a gang of different individuals of all races that were talented artists and singers and, performers, and telling them, you can redeem this, and as soon as lockdown society me to get over it, I made no promises. And I left the area and I started working for Smythe Industries, best job I've had in my life, right, in Tucson. And that was working out. Only thing is I was on probation in Maricopa County. Tucson is one or two counties in the state that you have to get permission from them to transfer your probation there, right? And they don't consider a halfway house being stable if you don't have a blood relative there, if you don't have a spouse there, if you don't have, and that's in conjunction with the job. They didn't see it. So eventually I had to come back here. And then I went to New Freedom. And when I came back to Phoenix, everything was terrible. And though I stayed away from the neighborhood, I see one of the homies on the light rail. And he convinced me, it was time. Hey, bro, where you at? Well, I've been at the ex-wife for a minute, but it's a reason why we're exes. It doesn't work, right? And he gave me some product. I was arrested with that product and went to county jail. New Freedom used every power that they had and got my PO to see the light and taking away my I was non-bondable, taking away my probation hold, right? And when they did that, the judge allowed me to bond out if I went straight to New Freedom. And I went to New Freedom. And I went to court from New Freedom. And I was hoping for 5 years of intense probation because I was looking at another 5 years in prison. So I was hoping for 5 years intense probation. And I was pacing, man, you gonna go in this court and let them give you that time? You ain't taking nothing with you? You crazy. But I went. And they had written some letters, and a couple of people stood up for me. And I got probation. 3 years probation. Standard. But for 10 minutes, okay, maybe 5. The prosecutors said the most wonderful things about me. I had to stare at them. I'm crying in the courtroom. Remopolis has written books, and he is writing books. He's published books. He's helping people that write their books in New Freedom. He's got his peer support. He's done this. He's done that. He's showing, his care and respect for the process. And he the first person I had to thank, So there was that. I got peer support certified, so I was qualified for a job, right? I ain't never been really qualified for a job, where somebody can say that your record doesn't hinder you for this. I've always been lying on these applications, trying to figure out these holes and gaps in my resume. But in peer support, your lived experience is a great part of your resume. And I was able to do that in conjunction with the book writing, in conjunction with the teaching. I've taught 10 guys how to read in prison, And so that was the thing in the mindset of not to do this. And my mother, My mother told me that she had health conditions, and they were most brought on by stress. And she told me, son, you're killing me. Literally, I ain't just saying this. You're killing me. When I don't hear from you, when you're incarcerated, you locked up in there, it affects me. And my aunt, verified for me that these things were killing my mother, and that pretty much did it for me. That straightened everything out. I've always had her, for sure. So
How long did you do at New Freedom? 90-day program?
I did
Okay. What'd you like about it?
everything. I met you there. You know what I mean? New Freedom, man. What's not to like about New Freedom? You just coming from a place sleeping on a mat that's not like the wonderful mats y'all saw yesterday. More like steel, right? And you bring you to a 4 or 5 star, who used to be a 4 or 5 star hotel, and put
Radisson,
and these big old beds, right, with these nice showers, and they got a culinary class down there, so you're getting basically gourmet food. They don't have pancakes though, but that's because everybody gets to saying, in prison all we do is eat is pancakes. The haters, they pancake haters. But that was that, and then there was the example of so many successful people. 85% of the people that work at New Freedom were incarcerated, including Mr. McDonald and Ms. McDonald, the CEO and director. They've both been incarcerated. Joe McDonald's done in excess of 40 years, I think. And his wife has done more than 2, right? Alcoholics and addicts that have remained sober and put a magnificent vision into operation, which makes me know that I can do it too. And then I see all of the other people that work there with time and ink, some of which they're trying to remove. You know what I mean? Living by the basic principles that we lost somewhere in our youth and along the way. The basic values of it,
And what are those values?
Well, your life is your life. Live it the way you want to. It's not my business, right? What's my business is taking care of me, taking care of my family, and then being some kind of positive service to the community and to the world. We lose that when we start thinking me. When it's in getting money, we think about all the money for me. How much money can I get? How many times can I go to the Super Bowl? It really was a mission. I need to go to the Super Bowl this year. I ain't been to the Super Bowl in 10 years. It's making my reputation look bad. I need to get to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Up the prices, up the, it showed that, and listening to Oprah Winfrey when she said that service is the key to success, right? Service equals success. The magnitude of your success will depend on the magnitude of your service, right? And that's kind of the air at New Freedom. They all welcome you home, and they got these programs available, right?
So one of the ways in which Remopolis is serving is through his creative writing, right? The vision that you're able to provide to people in the form of not only spoken word, but written word. And there's an opportunity that's presented itself through a newsletter that's called The Light. So The Light is a newsletter. It's a monthly newsletter that's distributed in some of the prisons in Arizona. Hey guys, it's Blake. I'm dubbing over here with a little bit of extra information around the context of this newsletter. An amazing woman named Kristen Johnson that we actually met at Mesa Arts Center during the Fentanyl Project and Victory Recovery's event, A Night to Prevail. She invited us to contribute to the newsletter. Kristen Johnson, shout out to Kristen and The Light. And she's provided Sober House Records the opportunity to contribute to the newsletter for the next 3 months. So February, March, April and May or so, sometime in this window of Q2. And Remopolis has been offered the back page of the newsletter. So I'd like to provide you an opportunity to read what you've written thus far, if you would do us
How about
the
that?
honor.
Okay, so my deadline to turn this article in is until tomorrow.
So you're gonna read the whole thing?
No,
Oh, come
no,
on.
I'm gonna read as far as I got.
Okay.
It's just like with the books. I never know the ending until I get there, and I'm kind of feeling like I may be close to the end. Uh, so bear with me here. It's the topic is the title is claim your destiny, right? We all have to do it. All starts with choice. And for addicts, we got to understand it is a mental disease. And I'm gonna tell you, some people don't like to hear that. I didn't like to hear that. Alcoholics is a disease. Come on, man, just man up. You like to get high. It ain't no disease. You just no, but really, it is a disease of the mind, right? You don't get the cravings until you actually put the substance in your system again. Then your body get that. I need another hit. I need another hit. I need another hit. But until you've taken that first one, even if it's after 5 years, until you take first one, there's no craving for that until you do that, right? It's the mental disease where you come up with the idea that I can take one or I can have a drink. So it's called reclaim or claim your destiny. And since it's going into the prisons, you have to start off with the straight talk. You know, nobody gonna listen to nobody if you're a nobody. So this is before any edits, and it goes this way: 087638. That's how Arizona Department of Correction identifies me, defines me. How my legal mail and love letters and store and food packages would find me for 29 years. On damn near every complex and respectable 5432 units in the state of Arizona. From Alhambra to Central Unit to Rhineland Unit to Cimarron Unit to Dakota Unit, Kaibab Unit to Buckley to SMU and SMU2 to Cheyenne Unit and Winchester Unit to Barchi Unit to Cook Unit to Mojave Unit to Cibola Unit to Westside Unit to the Whetstone Unit and every CDU, Complex Detention Unit, on every complex I've ever lived, if you call the way I was living. Oh yeah, can't forget about Perryville. Yeah, there was a time where male inmates did their time and parole violations there too. Shout out to the ladies that now occupy those bunks. My point is this. I was who I was, and my jacket and reputation on the main line of some of the worst prisons with some of the worst individuals a womb can produce is well known and documented. Just ask your OGs, big homies, heads, who were YGs and little homies and prospects when I started collecting stripes. Ask about 087638, aka OG Moppy Mop, or ask Siri or Google. You will hear some stories so excitedly told that they've turned into legend and lore of a 5 foot nothing, 170 nothing pound, frontline fighter of all comers, no matter the race, no matter the creed, official position, including brown shirt, white shirts, and gray. I hope you're not impressed by the things I've done inside prisons or in these streets. Believe me, I'm not impressed. Nor am I impressed by the wild shit that makes you feel that you're someone extra reputable. I'm not here to talk about dumb shit. You already know how to get into a prison cell. I'm here to tell you what I do to stay out and hope that you who followed me and my footsteps into getting in can also emulate my format for getting out, staying out, and thriving out here. I hated being identified as 087638, but I use it in every introduction. as one of the many tools that strengthen me, reminding me where I don't want to be, how I don't want to live, and how far away and above there I expect to go. I said expect to go. Multimedia or bust, multi-billionaire or bust, Nobel Peace Prize recipient or bust, and I refuse to accept the bust. Of that you can believe and trust. To accomplish even a tenth of my goals, I accept a few basic facts. I can never again smoke crack. I can never again snort black. I can never again sip yak. I can never again work the sack. Just facts. So let's just start with that. Addiction is a disease of the mind. It's my thinking that must be kept in line here, in check. So to strengthen myself and prepare myself to achieve multiple victories every day. When I arise every day, my mind's the first thing I check. Before going to bed, it's the last thing I check. And throughout the day, I say and do things to keep myself in check. Prayer, meditation, motivational speeches, positive work, positive deeds, helping others who are in need. There are many tools that keep me on course, but the number one thing is no dope. Of any kind, at any time, no dope. Don't get it twisted. It's hard out here for everybody. Just ask your average square Jane or John Doe. They'll tell you that shit's hard. The economy sucks. Credit ratings suck. Mental and physical health and health care suck. It's like my papa always says, life's hard, but it's fair because everybody gets their share. And my pop, like most people, is what we convicts and ex-convicts call a square. Never been to jail, let alone prison. Never had handcuffs on his wrist. Never gangbanged, never did dope. No earrings, no tattoos. Graduated high school, went straight to college. If it's hard for a square in America, you know it's going to be hard for an ex-felon who may or may not have jewelry poking out of places in their faces that God didn't intend to put holes. Legs, arms, and neck, face covered in prison tattoos. F the law carved into your forehead with a dull, indigent razor. Hell yeah, it's hard. But many of us out here, and those that are really successful at it, those that have been there and done that, and so that's where I'm at.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
It'll be finished by midnight. But the gist is, you got to stay focused and keep your mind in check. You cannot accomplish a positive goal with negative tools. You cannot buy your happiness with drug money. It ain't going to help you. If you're thinking you're going to flip the sack just enough so you can smoke and it pay for itself, you're still going to get a sales charge. And you ain't the man. You ain't the plug. You got to understand that everybody is making money off of you. Arizona's a prison state. They incarcerate. Programs are just starting to come back. Because I remember when Joe Payo made that statement, my job is not to rehabilitate, my job is to incarcerate. And everybody, woo, he won by a great margin that year. And that became the general theme. All the programs in the prisons went away. They're just starting to come back. So you get people coming out unqualified for things. Hey, that's changing now. There are places where people can go. There are resources like the Barbell Sage Project. There are resources like New Freedom. There are resources out here, you know. Fentanyl is killing everybody right now. What helps keep me away from the drugs that I chose, which was cocaine and meth, is I've known 8 people that have died in the past 6 months thinking they were snorting cocaine or meth. Dead. Fentanyl in it. So to me, everything has fentanyl in it. And now that when alcohol bore a hole through my stomach, fentanyl is in the cognac too. So it's all fentanyl to me. That's another thing that keeps me on the straight, right? It's a dead, you know. The gist is everybody gonna get the money. Even some of the places where we go to get the help, they getting paid. You're entitled to that help. Go get that help. I'm not saying don't go get the help, but understand your father. Everyone is writing a check. So it's time for individuals to start writing their own checks and reclaiming their own destiny. And that's the gist.
You kind of touched on it in your article a little bit for me, Bob, but like the biggest like change of perspective that I tried to have when I was getting ready to get out was that I wasn't going to try and be cool anymore. I wasn't going to try and be anything. You know, I decided I was going to be a lame, or like in your article, you said a square. And I knew that if I got that ego removed from what I was trying to do, that I could be successful. If I let the ego take over and I was trying to be cool, I was trying to be gangster, or like whatever that looked like, I was going to do whatever it took to look that way, to make my ego the lead. And that was the big thing for me, was just like trying to, as hard as I could, trying to remove ego and just getting the things done that I needed to get done to get off paper. I was just going to be as lame as possible, if that makes sense. But I love that part of what you wrote. Just talking about like, you know, like if a square has a hard time, like what's it going to be like for me as a convicted felon?
Right. So the drive has to be hard. It's like Blake says all the time when we're getting ready to work on something. He'll say, okay, and my brother Jay, you know, what is the goal? Okay, what is our goal here? All right. So now we can strategize for that, you know, achieving that goal. If we take cool out, you know, I generally don't accept anyone calling me Mop or Moppy Mop anymore. It's usually they have to be Remopolis. It reminds me of who I am, why my mother named me that, and what her goals were for that, right? And I'm usually in a shirt and tie every day. Y'all see me
Oh
regularly.
yeah, you're always
You know,
dressed out. Yeah,
but because I act according to the uniform.
right.
If I'm in all blue and I'm in Dickies and khakis, you know, I want to go where they wearing that.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the neighborhood, and my level of conversation doesn't get as far as cuz that. What's the latest this, and going to a lot of funerals, which I've decided to stop doing. You know. And when I'm in orange, I act like orange. So when I'm dressed like this, I remember being with grandmama in church, where I better be quiet, shut up, it's yes ma'am, and no sir to everybody. You know, I'm on my best behavior. I know I can't outrun the police in those shoes, so I ain't gonna do nothing in those shoes where I gotta be outrunning the police, right? And then you know, I'm working on my mental health. Right? I mean, you know, institutionalization is a reality. It's a reality,
Oh yeah.
right? And you know, and when they run my name, they're gonna see things, you know. And so I like the experience to be, you know, if I'm pulled over, I'm generally don't drive cars race to me. I don't have a car at this particular time. But if they pull me over, oh, hi, sir. And you get a different, you know, if I happen to be driving through somewhere where I'm trying to help somebody or send them somebody, usually those are considered to be high crime areas. And you can just be riding through and they're, you know, officer, I'm at 10 and 2. Officer, good afternoon. I know I must have done something wrong, but could you please tell me what that happened to be? A mistake, an error. Thank you. Not a problem. Any weapons? No. Do you mind if I? Not a problem. Would you like me to get out, or would you? You know what I mean? When I walk into a bank or a grocery store or anywhere at night, and people see me, their first move is not, this person may or may not harm me, and then I don't fit the description. Even if I fit the description, I don't fit the description. You're not gonna be able to misidentify me. I got on a hat that's unlike any hats that anybody else is wearing, right? And I make a noise and I walk like my father walked, like he got somewhere to go. You rarely see me walking slow because nobody stops you when you're walking slow. Not the prostitute on the corner, not the drug dealer on the corner. They see you and it's usually, excuse me, sir, mister, and get out of my pathway and let me keep walking. If I was just walking all cool, everybody, hey, what's going on? I don't have time for it. I keep moving. So these are the things that I do to keep myself out of the. I have a few little tactics, know.
And it sounds very similar to my thing. You're taking your ego out of it. You're showing respect to everyone. I got into a lot of trouble when I had that mindset of like everyone better respect me.
Right.
And that had to change. That mindset had to change. The prison mentality doesn't work out here in society.
It does not.
You've got to change that perspective, or you're gonna. If you keep the prison mentality, it's gonna bring you right back.
You're going back to prison.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because up is down there. Right is wrong there. For example, on here in the street, it's actually against the law for you to witness a crime and leave that scene. Say if you witness someone being assaulted, or you witness someone being stabbed or shot, or even a car accident. You can't leave that accident without making that report. You don't have to get out and render aid, but you damn sure got to dial 911, right? I don't know what kind of great lengths they'll go to prosecute under those circumstances, but the law is you cannot leave that, right? You have to do something, right, in the cause of helping this person live in that situation. In prison, you see somebody being stabbed under the stairwell, you better not call somebody for help. You better not try to call medical or somebody to go and help this guy. You better not go over there and start rendering first aid.
You better not even look like you saw something happen.
Yeah. You're the next person under the stairwell.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So people come out with these things, peer support. I was going to a job interview before I left New Freedom, and one of the guys said, I want to get this CPI card, this blue card, they call it, and it's for de-escalation techniques, right? And he was telling me about what you can and cannot do when you're dealing with people on the job, severely mentally ill individuals, right? You might have someone going through an episode. That person might hit you, right? You can't just hit them back. You know what I'm saying? Right? And I'm like, well, what do you mean? You can't fight this person. You can take hands from your neck. You can grab them and hold them while you're calling the police or help. Call the police. Right? Yeah. What if I just let him go and he go on about his business? Okay, let's say he's holding a knife. You have to call the police immediately, because if he go down the street and he kills someone on the corner, and you hold on to that prison mentality, hey, you have to, no. You're liable, right? Malpractice, right? I'm like, what malpractice? You're in the medical field, really? And when I got the understanding that I could call the police, ask for aid, not beat this dude down, because he's the client. He's here. We know he has issues. That's why he's here. He signed up for it. He's getting medications. These things happen. And you are the professional. When I realized that I could do that to be good at my job, I realized that I could do everything else that I needed to do to stay square. And this was what's working for me.
That's a good deal. So before we close out, talk a little bit about the music. What music are you working on? What do we got going on with the label?
I'm working on a real song right now with you. The track that you made for it is outstanding. I don't want to give up the title, but it's real, it's good. I have all the issues you listed in the beginning: addiction, justice reform, mental health issue. I suffer from all of it. Anxiety gets to work in his weaving his way, right? But yeah, we're gonna remake "We Need a Little Magic," which is a song that I wrote my first night in prison, my first time in prison. And it was also the night that Magic Johnson announced that he had HIV and AIDS. So it was already a bad day, right? Because it's my first day in prison, though I was glad to be out of the county jail, right? But seeing that news of Magic Johnson, first night, officer had to talk crazy to me. Said, go to your cell. I'm still stuck on the what? Are you serious? And I wrote that song that night. And it's good that we did it. And I'd like to release it to a wider thing, but I'd like to very quickly do a remix, right? Because we need a little magic for everything right now. You know, that was a time with Magic. He's doing well. HIV's under control. We need to wipe out AIDS. We need to, wipe out HIV. Hep C has been knocked out. It's okay. We making some, but we got wars everywhere, right? We got all kind of things. We need real magic. This fentanyl is killing everything it comes into contact with, and it's really dragging us down. And so I'd love to do the remix to that, with perhaps a gospel choir and a few more people coming in on verses about a different piece of, what we need magic at. I see that vision in my head, the Then and Now album. How I was then, how I am now. It's still what we're going to do. I gotta continue to write more for the now. I got 113 copyrighted about the then, and I don't really feel comfortable doing a lot of those songs anymore. We did Lockdown Society. I like that. But some of those songs, man, and I tell the stories of my life. So when you hear the songs, they be so much of the truth that I can't just get away with it with the books where I can just say this is a work of fiction and we can put on. But I'm a guy that writes what he knows, right? So I'm trying to learn a whole bunch of different things, right? That's why I hang out with you guys, your whole thing. Tinker Hannes and the way she got my mind working, man, on nutrition. You know what I mean? I watch the Gaio channel. You know what I mean? I eat garlic. You know what I'm saying? I talk to my water. You know what I mean? Hey, I talk to my water, dude. Have anybody not seen The Secret of Water? It's because of Tinker Hannes and, the things I learned for her at New Freedom, right? So I'm learning a lot of different things. I'm going outside of what my comfort zone was. And it's easier for me to disconnect. I used to say, man, I used to have 100 friends until I go to prison, then only got 5. And I would say, well, I only had 5 friends, to begin with. Mom, dad, and they pretty much all in the family, right? But being sober, you lose a lot of people that don't want to hang out with you because you ain't drinking. Now, I don't go and preach. I don't preach about what they do. I ain't finna sit down while you doing lines and all of that. I ain't finna do none of that, If you walk around the corner and smoke with blunt or, whatever, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I can walk away from that. I can, But generally, the people that need to go on their own. I see it as God removing the things that need to be removed. And I go with that. I used to buck against that. I know there have been some times that I relapsed just, all right, come on. You know what I mean? So there's that. And doing different things, it makes your brain work all the time different. Doing the same thing, you kind of get bored and tired. Now I'm learning technology, I used to get away with just saying, hey, can you do this for me? I'm a computer idiot until... Again, Miss Tinker Hannes went off on me one day. I never don't talk about my friend like that. I was like, oh, that's me. What you're doing is learning new technology to enhance new skills, and that's what I say every day.
Rewriting that programming.
Yeah.
Because, like you said at the beginning, words matter. You know, words are powerful. The way we speak to ourselves is powerful.
I was thinking about the Then and Now album,
Uh-huh.
right? To not uh, uh, to release it, you know, together, be the Then and the Now together, but on touring, I only do the Now songs.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Yeah, that project's going to be really important. It is. You know, the then component is equally important as the now for you, because a big part of what we do as artists is channel who we are and what we've been through into a body of work, so that the experience and the energetic resonance of what it is that we've been through no longer has to live within us. We can channel it and leave it on the table and let go, right? So my vision for that, based on what you've told me about the Then and Now album, is it's a project, right? And the singles are all now, right? None of the then songs are going to make the cut for a single,
singles,
right?
right.
We craft the album in a way where conceptually it really paints a picture of redemption, of inspiration and hope. And there will be those moments where there's descriptive, you know, explanation of what it is that you've been through in those deeper and darker moments, right? That you may not necessarily be proud of, but that was part of what shaped you into who you needed to become in order to see what not to do, right?
Right.
And now you're in a position to speak to those people who are maybe going through some of the same things that you went through. But I definitely want to like make it clear those then songs are really important. Like, it's a part of this next chapter, the music that we're working on. I want you to know that I'm here to hold space for those.
Okay. You know, I you know, just like when we did Lockdown Society, you know, it started out with the year, and then it get to saying, I'm glad it ain't like that no more.
Right.
You know, and then they go,
Give the context.
right.
Give the
I
disclaimer.
can see I'll be doing that with pretty much every one of those songs. I'm living lockdown. Wow, I remember. I'm that nigga known as OG Moppy Mop. Convict soldier. Can't stop. Won't stop, nigga, huh? Law abuser. Drug user. 3-time loser. I keep losing, but I'm playing to win. The fast lane of cane keep me going to the pen. Again and again and again, I'm coming up short. Playing them Peckerwood games and criminal code. 1.5, 4, 4, 9. Every trip to the judge is more and more time. But I'm not giving a fuck. Cause I'm used to this. I ain't new to this. My whole youth was missed from 18 to 48. Penitentiary gates open and closed as I fell and rose, fell and rose, fell and rose again. Who the fuck knows if I'm to goes again? So don't ask me, cause a nigga really don't know. I'm trying to stay out this time, let's just see how the shit go. Even on the streets, I'm living penitentiary style. God bless my child. They got me living lockdown. See, Arizona, P now G, representing this WSC. What up, cuz, to my homies from the 113? Much love, put it down how it's supposed to be. Dreaming about the streets, wake up, I'm in the pen. Dreaming about the pen, wake up, I'm in the streets. Go to Fry's to buy groceries for my fam. Come out that motherfucker with nothing but wham wham. Damn, it's fucked up. I'm an institutionalized killer. Planning a penitentiary hit. Even though I'm on the streets and smoking bugler cigarettes. And your life don't mean shit. On the real, this is how a killer live. Either a Glock or Shanks, give me the steel. I got the will to live, so here's the deal. If my life mean your death, you'll be killed. If my health mean your death, you'll be killed. If my rep mean your death, you'll be killed. Now on the streets, my family is my mom and pop. In the pen, my family is KC and Rock. On the streets, I got Grandma and Melissa. In the pen, I got Pooh Putt and Mike Shivers. On the streets, I got BB and Marche. In the pen, I got PT and Terry Grave, Too Big, Kyleem and Psycho Mike, and 300 other killers who keep it tight. So it'll never ever matter whether I'm out or in. I kill and die for my niggas in the pen. They got me living like, you know, it's I remember them songs and why I wrote them.
You just put that to a beat, right?
We
Just cut it and
that
put
we
it.
actually already that's one we did. We actually did that one in New Freedom.
That's
Yeah, we
amazing.
did.
That's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
we did the first verse. We did it on the first verse on the song with some more guys.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I
you
can't
know,
wait to hear the album. I can't wait to hear it, man.
yeah, we're
For
gonna
sure.
paint that picture and hold that space. So let's go ahead and close it out. I guess in closing, why don't we just check out with one word, one core principle. So just state your name and the intention that you'd like to leave the listener with, the intention that you'd like to offer to the rest of the
Okay.
room for the duration of this evening.
I'm Remopolis Pleasant, 087638, OG Moppy Mop. Not to be confused with Lil Moppy Mop, Baby Moppy Mop. But I'm the one that caused them to want to carry this name. And I apologize to them for that. Mental stability. It all starts in the mind. They have already said, if your mind can conceive it, then you can achieve it. But we've been setting the bar too low. Other people's opinion of your coolness, of your cred, of your status is man, listen. I'm going to tell you, I was that fool, right? My lyrics used to be good. I was a great rapper. I started rapping in church, man. That's where I was rapping at first, right? But when the gangster stuff started coming out, and then, hey, but to be an MC, you got to be authentic. You can't bite nobody else's stuff. You got to write stuff that you do. So now I'm out doing stuff. I remember first time I shot, and I don't even know if he had it coming. But not 2 weeks later, I know for real, my nigga, I am the brother that pulled the trigger. Because I had finally pulled the trigger, you know? And so I pushed a lot into building up who MC, eventually OG Moppy Mop would be. And I put a lot of vision into how my career would be. I really just wanted to be on stage. At the end of the day, I just wanted to be performing. And a lot of these dudes and females are doing that today.
I think that's actually a really important part of your story, and it's a testament to the power of music, right? Like music can it could be a catalyst for real transformation, positive transformation. But if I'm listening to the wrong music, it could be detrimental to my path, and I think that's what you experience.
For sure. And I was one of the ones who, man, music don't do that. It's just like the people that say guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yeah, people kill people with guns a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a reality. I ain't fighting with you about what's First Amendment, what's Second Amendment, and what your rights are. I'm just telling you the reality of the United States kill more people with guns than anybody else, right? And in the music, hey, art. This is art emulating life, but I'm gonna tell you, it's a little bit of life emulating art going on too, and a lot of it, a lot of it, And the thing about Sober House Records that's so great to me is, the studio experience here is like none other. I've been in some studios, right? Ain't no weed smoke up in here. Ain't nobody half-ass drunk trying to say their lyrics up in here. I can't stand that. I want to do it in one take or two take. You wasting all our time. Studio time used to cost a lot of money, right? We usually do a feelings wheel before we get started. Where have you been in the studio to do that, right? And the language and it's being directed by a guy that talks like Blake. Yeah, y'all see how Blake talks, right? Right. I mean, listen, I'm telling you, going outside my comfort zone has made me very comfortable because I interact with Blake almost every day, right? And he can find a positive spin on everything. And Tinkahanas has a neutrality thing that she's about. Well, it doesn't have to be this or that. How about you just be here and then live the life and you be and everything's beautiful. You'd be like, what the fuck? Shoot, you mad about shit. You know what I mean? But this is it's a sober house. An artist that my vision here is, first of all, saving lives is our top priority. We're not all about the money records. We're not called money bag records or anything like that, where that's the first priority, right? Of course, we'll make money, right? But the first goal is to save lives, not to just have big stars that end up like Elvis, that end up like Michael Jackson, that end up like Whitney Houston, that end up like Prince, that end up like Pimp C. I don't want us to be holding on and trying to you know the next dead rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming a thing. You know what I'm saying? Hey, who is this guy? Oh, he's dead. Damn, I just got the. Who is this guy? He's dead. Who? I'm talking about the Juice World guy. Dead. How is this? What? This environment. I think, first of all, you got to pee in the cup. When we think about it, in my mind, you got to pee in the cup before you grab this mic. You know what I mean? Because it's not just about you. It's about me and my sobriety, him and his sobriety, and everybody around us in their sobriety, right? But I'm thinking it's going to be really big because there's going to be parents that want their children with these great talents with us, right? Because Drew Barrymore didn't have that when she was making E.T. I think her story is she was drinking alcohol at 5 with other stars and smoking weed and doing cocaine at 6, and it just turned into a freaking tragedy. But parents were gonna, hey, our shows and after parties are different after parties. You know what I mean? It's a lot that we might be up at the spot. You might be able to get you a nice energy drink, clean cars. I love it because it's good, but I love it because the cause is clean, right? It's just going to be a different environment, and environment matters, right? Yeah. It's nature and nurture.
Absolutely. So, Remopolis closing out on mental stability. Once again, my name is Blake, and my intention, if I had to leave one word with us, just be presence. Just to be present tonight, or whenever it is that someone might be listening to this. I really want to challenge myself to just be in the moment and to enjoy your guys' company. Yeah, I noticed actually at the show, the kickoff event of the Formerly Intoxicated Recovery Tour, that I was so focused on making sure that things went the right way that it's almost like the moment passed before I realized it. And there were a few people that I apologized to a couple of our sponsors because in the moment it's like I overlooked the opportunity to be present with them and just connect, human to human. I was just moving too fast. So, my intention is to slow down and to be present and just to enjoy, being here with you guys. And I've definitely enjoyed the past hour and a half of being on a podcast with y'all. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here. So with that, I'm checking out. My word is presence.
Can't believe I got to follow those two. Man, you guys put me up to a challenge. My name's Erik Miller. My ADC number is 182873. There was about 100,000 people that went through between me and you, Remopolis, and that gives me perspective. That is my word. It's perspective. I challenge you to just take a look around. Pay attention to the things that you have around you. Pay attention to the things that you care about, the things that you love, and really challenge your perspective about those things. What really matters, what's really important to you, and are you doing the things that are going to make a difference for those things, or are you chasing your ego? Are you trying to be something that you're not? So challenge your perspective. That's all I got, man.
Beautiful. Thank you, Erik. Once again, Blake Mathews, Remopolis Pleasant, and Erik Miller. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Formerly Intoxicated podcast. We will see you next time. Peace.